You've already read the title, so let's just cut to the chase. I am more attracted to women than I am to men, although I'm not particularly attracted to either. In terms of labels, I could use any one of these because the English language is wonderful and complex and full of redundancies, and each one means a slightly different thing or pertains to a slightly different aspect of my sexuality. Some of them are more known than others, and so I will alternate between these four. Gay, because I'm mostly attracted to women. Bi, bisexual, because I'm also sometimes attracted to men. Grey A, one you might not have heard of, grey asexual, meaning on the asexual spectrum, which just means that it's actually quite rare for me to fancy someone. And queer, which is a reclaimed umbrella word that just means anything that's not straight. How great is that? If you're the sort of person who thinks, Sally, that's an awful lot of labels, well, that's just English for you, because I could do exactly the same thing for my academic career. All of these labels describe me as an academic and that facet of my character, personality. I tend to use the words scientist, evolutionary biologist, or PhD student interchangeably. They all mean a slightly different thing with slightly different nuances. So hopefully most of you right now will be thinking, cool. Or even better yet, cool. Now let me go and share one of your Shed Science videos with my friends. That would be great. But for those people, thanks, great. You can stop watching now because the rest of this video is going to be talking about why I finally, after many years, decided to make a coming out video and why I think it's important to be open about my sexuality in STEM, science, technology, engineering and maths, and most importantly in science YouTube. There will be some people in the comments section about to type something on the lines of, dude, it's 2016, why are you telling us about your sexuality? It doesn't affect your ability to make science videos, nobody cares, so why are you telling us? And to those well-meaning, probably straight people, I just have to say, you're wrong. Sorry, but you are. To say that nobody cares just completely disregards the fact that my sexuality is going to have an impact on my life, and that homophobia and biphobia and unconscious biases about sexuality do still exist in 2016. A paper came out just last month saying that as an LGBT woman, based on CVs alone in the US, I am 30% less likely to get a job interview just for being queer. Or that in Canada, bisexual men and women are 6 times more likely to suffer from suicidal thoughts than straight people, and it's also higher than for bisexuals than it is for gay people because of biphobia and bisexual erasure. And still, in 2016, it's probably illegal for me to post this video were I in Russia, and there are still countries where it's illegal for me to be gay. I did actually have a big think about whether I wanted to make a coming out reason for that, for those arguments, because I thought maybe it wasn't important, maybe I didn't need to dedicate a whole video to it. But then I thought about my experiences coming out as a scientist in my science department. And it's really odd coming out because although you know that the majority of people are okay with queer people, they think it's fine, but there is still a minority that think that I should burn in hell. And so when I'm coming out in my department to my boss, to my supervisors, my colleagues, my professors, these are people who have quite a lot of influence over my life and my career. And so there's that risk element of, I don't know whether they are going to be one of the majority who are going to be absolutely fine with it, they won't care at all. Or whether they're one of the minority where if I come out and they hate that, then I am putting my career in jeopardy. It's like Schrodinger's cat. You don't know for certain until you come out, until you have extra information. I am so fortunate to have lots of PhD students around me who are queer women, and they are open about it in the department. And because they are open, I can see how the people around me react to that fact. And so I get that extra information that I need to see whether or not I'm going to be safe. And so I've had a fine, okay time coming out in my department. I'm not talking about like saying, hi everyone, I'm gay, but just I feel safe to mention that it was an LGBT drinks event that I went to the other night rather than just a drinks event. And there's data on this. There's evidence from earlier this year in 2016 that scientists are more likely to be out in departments that are welcoming about sexuality than those that are hostile. Surprise, surprise. But in departments where people weren't sure what the reaction was going to be about their sexuality, they were much less likely to be out. It's that uncertainty that's worrying. It's not knowing the risk that you're putting yourself in. And the way that you can gain information and more certainty about how safe you are to come out is by other people coming out before you. Moving from science to science YouTube, however, is a completely different kettle of fish. I also am a minority in the sense of I'm a woman in science YouTube, and my usually lovely, polite, kind audience have given me quite a bit of stick for this. I get the worst comments are about me being a woman. I don't get to choose whether or not I'm open about being a woman in science. It's kind of obvious, and actually I get people emailing saying, you're a role model to me as a woman in science YouTube, which is great. I don't go out of my way to do it, but that's just a thing that happens. Other people choose if you're a role model. You don't really get to choose yourself. Except with sexuality, because it's a hidden diversity. I can only name 3 active science channels that feature openly, publicly queer people in them. 3. Of course, ASAP Science is the most prominent among them, and I have watched their coming out video more times than I care to admit, and mostly I've read the comment section underneath. It's fair to say the comments are quite mixed. There are quite a lot of burn in hell comments, but overall I would say it's fairly welcoming and accepting. Of those 3 science channels, all of them feature queer men. I cannot name you a single active science channel that features a publicly queer woman. Bi, gay, lesbian, asexual, whatever. Not one. There is such a lack of visibility in this sector. And so whilst I have some idea about what it's like to come out as a male scientist on YouTube, I don't have that much information as what it's like to come out as a female queer scientist on YouTube. There is still that level of risk, and I just really hope that this video, hoping that it gets a positive response, can show other people behind and afterwards that it is okay to come out, and they can see the response to this video and judge for themselves whether they feel that it's safe to come out or not. And that's why I finally decided that actually, yes, making a coming out video was important. That's it really. There'll be links to all the papers I mentioned and other resources, the other queer science channels, all in the description below. And yeah, more science videos to come. So keep smiling. Do, 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 do.